GCSE Higher Practice Paper 4B from mathstutor.biz and mathstutor.biz.co.uk. In this video clip we're going to be looking at part of question number 7. I'm just going to show you part C of question number 7 on this particular practice paper. If you want to see the whole of question 7, or in fact the whole of the paper, then go to mathstutor.biz or mathstutor.biz.co.uk, and there you'll be able to purchase this practice paper and the DVD that goes with it, explaining all the answers to all the questions on the paper, not just the answers but how I've done them, possibly more than one method I show for any question, including I give the marks for the questions. So let's have a look at question 7 part C from this particular practice paper. Question 7 part C, which has got very little to do with part A and part B. It's a brand new question really. This is a regular octagon of a particular size with particular dimensions. So here's what our regular octagon, all the sides are the same, all the angles are equal. Find the area. When you find the area of a shape like this, you have to consider it's made up of different shapes, and how you split up is entirely up to you. I'm going to take the examiner's lead with that dotted line and split it into two trapeziums that are the same, in other words congruent trapeziums, and the area of the rectangle in the middle. Very important the examiner can see and understand you're working out. So I'm actually going to label these. Remember, the exam paper is yours, so you can write on the exam paper, and if you write on the exam paper, the examiner can follow your train of thought. If you go wrong, and there's actually 5 marks for this question, if you go wrong you'll get some of those 5 marks. So it's well worth considering how you're going to set out your answer, and labelling the shape, something like this, is well worth doing. Okay, I've called that A and that B, and they're both the same. The trapeziums, and the area of a trapezium is half the sum of the parallel sides multiplied by the distance between them. Is that formula on your formula sheet? If not, you better learn it. What do I mean by this? Well, the two parallel sides are this one here and this one here. So that is 5.7, and that is 13.6. Multiplied by the distance between them. I put h because height. We usually draw a trapezium like that, so we're talking about the height usually. That's why it's an h. But it's that distance there. So let's work that out. We'll do 0.5 multiplied by open brackets 5.7 plus 13.6 close brackets multiplied by 4. And just to make sure I haven't made a mistake, I'll do half of 4 is 2 and do 2 multiplied by open brackets. So I'm doing it a different way, 5.7 plus 13.6, and if I get the answer again I feel lovely and happy. So that's the area of A and the area of B. So total area equals A plus B plus C. So that's A, that's B, and C is a rectangle, which is that times that. Don't know what that is, do I? So I need to work that out, don't I? I'll squeeze it in here, and this is in fact how I could do it in the middle of an exam. I'd think, oh dear, I need to know that, and I need to know it before I get there. So I'm going to call that X. Again, writing on the exam paper so the examiner can see what I'm thinking. X equals, if that's 13.6, then the whole of that is 13.6. Minus that 4 and that 4. Can't read the paper, so why should I strain myself? I should be able to do 8 away from that and get 5.6, shouldn't I? So if I did it in my head and on the calculator and got 5.6 both ways, I feel quite good. Okay, so I wrote this down and then thought, ooh, hang on a minute, I need to know what that is. I've not only worked it out, I've explained to the examiner how I did it, so the examiner can see that I'm thinking 5.6 multiplied by 13.6 is the area of that rectangle. Now, I don't know how many different ways there are doing this question and setting out. There must be quite a lot. 38.6 plus 38.6 plus open brackets 5.6 multiplied by 13.6. But this is my way of doing it. If your way is different and you end up with the same answer, then your way is good as well. As long as you have put explanations along the way. If you just end up with a mass of figures, okay, if you just end up with a mass of figures and you get that answer, well, you'll be okay. But if you end up with a mass of figures and don't get that answer, how many of the 5 marks are you going to get? The examiner's only going to spend so long looking at your work. Don't forget the units. I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to work out 2 times that first. 2 times 38.6. And then I'm going to add on this 5.6 multiplied by, because I would do that more than one way. And I've got the same answer, so I'm feeling quite good. So as I mentioned, there are 5 marks here, one of them for the actual answer, and then 4 marks for your method. Now you will get all those 4 marks if you've got it right, okay? But if you've got it wrong, how many of those 4 marks would you get? Well, it would depend on the examiner being able to spot what you did when. Right, that was question 7 part C. Oh, just to remind you that somewhere on the exam paper there's likely to be a mark for showing you units, so possibly that was only 3 marks. 1 mark for the answer and then 1 mark for showing the units. Notice I didn't do anything about changing that to a sensible answer. If I'd have done this, I think the examiner would have just ignored it as long as that was there, because there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't find the actual answer in this particular case.